Some days I want to go full Henry David Thoreau mode. Just move into a one-room log cabin on Walden Pond and dream of a more limited government. Anyway, it's early. It's also Saturday. I'm going to show you guys the subtle art of losing money. A lot of channels out there want to show you how to make money. I don't know anything about that, but I can wad up $100 bills and toss them in the fire with the best of them. Here it is, folks. The king of comebacks. This is a 2009 Audi A6 Quattro. It needs a fan belt for the 4th time in 5 weeks. They don't slip, they don't squeak, they completely shred. Yeah, it's a 3.2 hour job to put a fan belt on this car by the book. You have to remove the entire front end, bumper cover, headlights, bumper, splash shield. Then you have to take the entire radiator carrier loose and scoot the radiator out. They call it a service position. Initially, the customer brought me the car. It had no belts on it, and he asked me to install 2 new belts. This car has a supercharger, so there's a separate belt for that, and then it has a regular accessory belt behind it. So I said, no problem, Mr. Customer. I installed the belts, and I sent it home. That was belt number 1. He called me about 4 days later and said, hey, that new belt you installed, it shredded, and I'm stranded on the side of the road. So we towed it back, and I did some further investigation. I found some wear marks on the tensioner arm here where the belt's been rubbing. So I pulled the tensioner off, I did some testing. I didn't like it. It's pretty loose. It doesn't seem to track quite right. So I replaced it with this new one from Litton's, and this one never worked from day one. I installed it with a new belt, took it for a test drive. It made it about half a mile down the road, and I could hear it rubbing, and it had burned the edge off the new belt. So that was belt number 2. I pulled the tensioner off and I tried to grind some relief in it here to make it work, but I could never get this one to track right. So that was junk from the start. I ordered a new tensioner from FCP Euro that was an OEM style tensioner. I replaced the tensioner and the idler pulley along with the new belt. That was belt number 3. And then I sent it home. And it was fine for 5 weeks. And then he called me and said, hey, that new belt you installed, it has shredded and I'm stranded on the side of the road. So we towed it back, and this time I found a different problem. We now have a telescoping crank pulley. It sucks because I checked this when it was here before, and I pried on it and I didn't see any problems. It didn't have any run out. I drove it all over the place. I thought it was fine, but yeah, this thing has completely shelled out. So I don't know if this was the problem all along or if this is a new and unrelated problem. I suspect it's been a problem the whole time. Maybe what happens is it gets warm and expands, and then it starts to kind of move around. Maybe I just didn't run it long enough to see that. Anyway, we need a new one. Probably the hardest part about working on these Euro cars, at least for me, is just getting parts. I can't get anything locally, or if I can get it locally, it doesn't work or it doesn't fit because their parts lookups are so bad. Anyway, we got this Euro parts crankshaft pulley, damper, whatever you want to call it. I could not get the OEM one, it wasn't available. We have from Ina a new idler. This last belt chewed up the new idler. And then we have a 4th belt. The crank pulley is attached with 8 cap screws that have triple square heads. You know, because of reasons. So if you don't have a 10mm triple square bit or socket, you will need one. Well, I don't know how much you guys will be able to see, but I'll give it a shot. The pulley only goes on one way. There's a hole here that's marked by 2 dimples. It's actually further out from the center line. So in my case, that's at the very bottom. Or pretty close to the bottom. It's probably going to be a lot of really nice shots of my shoulder or my forearm. Alright, best I can tell, these get torqued to 23 Newton meters. Which isn't a whole lot. Alright, the crank pulley is on. We have to remove this idler pulley for the supercharger belt. It takes a T50 Torx. I'm using this low profile Torx bit from Astro Pneumatic. These things will save your bacon working in a tight engine bay. Okay, now, really? Why won't you stick to a water pump pulley? Is that pulley aluminum? It ain't magnetic, whatever it is. Alright, well, I'll stick it right there for now. So we gotta pop this plastic cover off, like so. And then I'm pretty sure that one's also T50 Torx. Yep, it is. Yeah, she's pretty chewed up. Now, the other thing to check is the front main seal. Sometimes the belts get wound up around the end of the crankshaft and they'll take out that seal. Well, crap. I ordered 2 replacement idlers and they're both wrong. So that guy there is for the supercharger, so that ain't gonna work. And then this is that ENA part that I ordered. It's the wrong diameter, the wrong width, and the wrong offset. So that sucks. And I can't get one of those anywhere around here today. I think my only option is to put the old one back on, the original one. Because he wants this thing back ASAP. Ah, it sucks. Yeah, I don't know what else to do. The pulley's actually molded around the bearing, so there's no way to... You know, I can't just press the pulley off the old one and put it on the new bearing. Sucks. Nobody has any parts for these cars around here. And everything that I order online is described incorrectly. It'll be okay. We should start over here on this side. I have this tool. It's made by OTC. It's for installing belts. It's kind of handy. Sometimes your paws just won't fit. Okay, the accessory belt tensioner takes a 17mm socket. So of course, the supercharger tensioner takes a 16mm. Just like you'd expect. Okay, that looks pretty good. So you better fire it up and see if everything's honky-dory. Cool. You know who hasn't been on a video recently?
Back to school.
What's going on there, lady?
No one cares about what we do in our free time.
That's not true. I've had at least 2 people ask what we do in our free time.
Well,
We're pretty boring, folks. Pretty boring.
I left the kiddo with his grandparents, and I would like to go see the Jurassic Park movie that's been out for like 6 months.
It doesn't have good reviews. I think the Critical Drinker might have used the words dumpster fire.
Well,
But I'm in.
Here's
Let's go.
the deal. It's number 6 in a 3-part sequel trilogy.
So you're saying they're running out of steam?
What I'm saying is I think all the original actors that are still alive are in it.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too. Well, here's the deal. Before we can go on date night, we need to reassemble all of these parts back onto Das Auto.
I'm gonna go take a nap.
Okay. Guess I better get busy.
Yeah.
Check it out, folks. Macht auf Deutschland. It's the correct idler. The local auto parts store was able to pull off a Hail Mary and get me one out of a warehouse in Chicago the same day. So, can't beat that. Let's go ahead and slap this guy in. I wonder if there's maybe some sort of easier way to do that. Much faster. Okay, now the fun part. Got to put all this crap back together. And the important thing to remember when you're dealing with an Audi or a Volkswagen is that everything plastic you touch is going to break. So once you come to terms with that, it's really not so bad. I've soaked this impact in gear lube so many times that whenever I use it, it smells like sulfur. Pretty nasty. I don't know, you might be able to do this job without taking the actual bumper beam itself off. But the nice thing about pulling the bumper beam off is then you have these long bolts you can stick in here to slide the carrier out. Like I said, everything plastic will be broken. So just get over it. I suspect this car has been hit in the front end probably a couple of times. That's good news for us because most of the plastic is already pre-broken, like this headlight tab. Somebody tried to hot glue it back together. Didn't really work. Well, that tab's broken. Alright, well, we'll just do the best we can. Yeah, see, that doesn't really fit at all. I don't know. Alright, the actual bumper cover is probably the worst part. And that's because of this stupid hose for the headlight washer system. Freaking Germans just won't give that up. I mean, I realize it's a requirement over there, but that doesn't mean you have to curse us with it. Okay, there's that. Alright folks, we are done. This bumper cover really doesn't fit right. Or that headlight's wonky. Something's going on there. Shouldn't be this big gap. But I don't know what to do about it. The headlight's broken. 1, 2, 3 bumper mounting tabs are broken. So it kind of is what it is. Well, it's really coming down out there. Hope the windows are rolled up. I think we can step down off the ledge and take a deep breath. We are done. God willing, we're done for the last time. It's been quite a long haul. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of comments and debate about, whose fault is it, who pays for it, etc. I'll tell you guys the truth, in a situation like this, everybody pays for it. That's why we do everything we can to avoid comebacks. It's a lose-lose situation, no matter how you look at it. Probably in this case, I'm going to ask the customer to pay for the crank pulley, and then I will eat the labor, and the belt and idler, those have a no questions asked warranty, so the parts supplier is going to eat that. So yeah, everybody ends up with a big L on this job, but sometimes that happens. Like I said, we just try to keep it to a minimum. All right, we're done bashing Eurotrash. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.